A very warm welcome to Newsfeed on this 20th day of June 2022. A day that has seen mixed reactions being put across regarding the chaos that erupted at the Jacaranda grounds Sunday afternoon. One of the many stories we've lined up for you on Newsfeed this afternoon. Now with that said, my name is Dennis Otieno. I trust you're doing well. Welcome to the broadcast. Now on to our top story this afternoon. Former NACADA chairman Mutudho has termed the proposal to legalize bang as unworkable and illegal. Speaking in Naivasha, Mutudho said that the notion of legalizing bang to combat the current financial crisis was all a lie. He further explained that countries where the plant has been legalized, like Jamaica and Ethiopia, are facing harsh financial times. Mutudho also said that the plant is a health hazard, being that majority of patients from a rehabilitation center he owns have been affected by smoking bang.
Team state in a language everybody can understand. Nobody disputes his 17 degrees, but I'm disputing his wisdom in advocating that cannabis can make the economy of Kenya revamp to an extent of being a super world. If that's the case, then how come a whole province in Ethiopia where cannabis is legalized or bang is legalized is still suffering? It is a focus drug. It's just like the old railway line. You know, that's when we did 1894. The train has been passing through that rail line the same speed all those years. It does something hooting at a particular place, say Longonot, and doesn't change. So Mutu wa bangi or bangi person is focused to that extent. So if he thinks he can dive into a hardware business, he will do exactly that. And it's very dangerous then when you are advocating that. I have a rehabilitation center called John Mutudho Empowerment Center in Nakuru, which has so far treated about 4,000 people. I cannot talk about my patients, but I can tell you we have a very, very big problem. We can't allow this discussion to go on that way.
Meanwhile, Wiper Deputy Party leader Farah Maalim is confident that the Azimio coalition will win the August 9th general election by more than 65% in the presidential race. The former deputy speaker further expressed optimism that the coalition will win majority of the seats in the northeastern region. Maalim, who was speaking in Garissa town on Monday during a meeting that brought together all 9 sub-clans of the Awilan community and which was meant to endorse Nasir Mohamed Dolal as the sole candidate for the Garissa Township parliamentary seat, said that the Kenya Kwanza coalition has no support in the region.
Kaniambia mimi nisimame hapa na wazee wa Garissa wote wa makabila zote wakaniambia nisimame, na mimi nilikuwa nimeshinda na zaidi ya 6,000 na yangu pia ikaibiwa 2017. 2022 hakuna kitu kitakuja kuibiwa, itakuwa free and fair.
Wania hii kiti mwaka wa 2013 na ni wazi ya kwamba tumepata hii kiti, isipokuwa wale wakora ambayo walikuwa kwa system ndio wamefanya ukarabati wao wakachukua ushindi wetu. Na kuthibitisha hiyo, 2013 out of the possible 4 MCS, 3 imeenda kwa mrengo ya ODM na ya 4 imeenda kwa TNA. URP hawakuwa na hata MC moja, na hiyo ni thibitisho kamili. Is a clear demonstration that we have taken the seat. We have won the seat. Sasa hapa Garissa tunasema ya kwamba ni zone ya Azimio, sio zone ya UDA.
Now, from Garissa town, we cross over to Kilifi County, where the Orange Democratic Movement politicians in Kilifi held a mega rally where they focused on how they will transform the county. Led by ODM gubernatorial candidate Gideon Mungaro, they asked residents in Kilifi to reject both the Pamoja African Alliance, PAA, and the United Democratic Alliance, UDA politicians, blaming them for underdevelopment of the region. Mungaro, however, promised to address the issue of healthcare, neglected infrastructure, water scarcity, and food security.
Ndio wajue watu wa Kilifi hawataki mchezo. Na mimi nimesema niko na agenda 6 za Kilifi County. Agenda ya kwanza tumesema lazima watu wa Kilifi wawe na maji na tufanye kilimo.
Kila mahali katika Kenya wamesema ni baba Raila Amolo Odinga. Nataka kuwauliza ndugu zangu, sisi tukiwa hapa Kilifi, hii imekuwa ngome ya ODM, imekuwa ngome ya baba. Nataka kuwauliza ndugu zangu, tarehe 9 ifikapo mwezi wa 8, sote ambao tunakubaliana kwamba tutapigia baba tunyoshe mkono.
Mmekuja kudanganywa hapa. Kuna mtu amekuja kudanganywa. Hatutaki kusikia kijana wa Kilifi, mama wa Kilifi, baba wa Kilifi anaenda mkutanoni alafu anaambiwa kazi ni kazi. Kazi ni kazi humu Kenya. Kama hujasoma vizuri, sisi agenda yetu hapa ni elimu. Agenda yetu ni nini? Watoto wetu wapate ujuzi. Yule kiongozi atakuja kuambia hapa kazi ni kazi. Kazi ni ile kusheshe na kuzoa minyao na kuiweka kwa wheelbarrow kupeleka zalani. Kweli uongo?
Elsewhere, the Democratic Action Party Kenya, DAP-K, has continued rallying its support for the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga, while promising to secure various seats in the region as we approach the August 9th elections. Speaking in Kisumu, DAP-K leaders have also called on more inclusion of other parties in the Azimio coalition, adding that they need to unite to garner more votes for the Azimio presidential hopeful.
That we as DAP-K Luo Nation, we are going to deliver, we are going to support him, we are going to rally people to vote for him. And so we also want to challenge our counterparts in ODM. There are people who are hanging around Raila every now and then claiming that ODM is the party in Luo Nyanza. We just want to remind them that Raila Amolo Odinga needs more than ODM in Luo Nyanza. Raila needs Azimio parties so that he can also score on 9th August.
Politicians across the country have been urged to conduct peaceful campaigns in the countdown to the August 9th general election in a bid to safeguard the peace of the country. Speaking during a forum on election preparedness, Coast Regional Commissioner John Elungata said the government is committed to enhancing peace and unity in order to have a peaceful electoral process, and also urged Kenyans to desist from activities that will bring violence during the elections.
Wanasiasa wafanye mikutano kulingana na sheria, wafanye mikutano yao kuanzia saa 12 asubuhi hadi saa 12 jioni. Lakini usiku hatutakubali, kwa sababu tumeona hiyo itaongeza uhasama, itaongeza wasiwasi, itaongeza kutokuwa na usalama, itaongeza ujambazi. Ningewaomba wenye magari ya uchukuzi kama matatu na mabasi wasibandike posters zao, kwa sababu kukiwa na uhasama, mwananchi anayesafiri hana hata hana habari kuhusiana na siasa zinavyoendelea, atachukuliwa vibaya. Serikali bado inaendeleza ule mradi wake wa kazi mtaani, na tunatarajia hao vijana, kando na ile kazi watakuwa wanafanya kusaidia kung'arisha makazi yao, pia watakuwa ni mabalozi wa amani.
Now, leaders from the Rift Valley have asked Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai to arrest those behind Sunday's chaos at Nairobi's Jacaranda grounds. The leaders, allied with Deputy President William Ruto's UDA party, blamed the Azimio coalition for sponsoring the chaos that left several people injured, including UDA's Embakasi East parliamentary aspirant Francis Mureithi. Deputy President William Ruto has blamed Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga for the chaos that left several people injured.
We are very much disturbed, and as leaders, we don't want to polarize this nation. We believe that we have come a long way. We are progressive minds, and we believe in the unity of our country. Yes. Now, Mheshimiwa Ruto has a right to campaign anywhere in this country because he's a presidential candidate. But if you think Jacaranda is the only place you can showcase how tough you are, we want to tell you it is very unfortunate.
That was an act of hooliganism. and it should never be condoned in this country. I particularly want to point out Babu Owino. I want to ask Babu Owino to grow up. If he cannot mature in politics, then let him quit politics. Politics is about strategy, manifesto, and what you need to do to the people.
We watched yesterday with shock as our leaders were being stoned, particularly the Deputy President of Kenya and other leaders, other elected leaders by the people, being stoned in broad daylight by young boys, young men.
I'd like to call upon the leadership of Azimio, and in particular, the candidate of Azimio, who has signed the code of conduct for IBC, and who has agreed to campaign in a very peaceful manner. We would like to ask him to control his goons, not to interfere with other people's right to assemble.
Elsewhere, over 500 elderly people from Kiambaa constituency in Embu County have benefited from well-wishers who enrolled them to the National Hospital Insurance Fund and cleared their dues which were incurred out of the economic hardship that was as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. While paying and enrolling them, Damaris Waiganjo said it is a high time for the next parliamentarians to enact a law where all elderly people will be receiving free medical attention, for they are facing a lot of healthcare challenges at their old age. Speaking during the ceremony, they urged the government to convert the token of 2,000 shillings they get to cater for their health scheme to enable them access medication without facing many challenges in hospitals.
Una chochote. Sasa kile tabu sana ni hiyo chakula. Baka upatiwe. Kikoza mtu akupatie utalala njaa. Sasa hiyo hivyo nasema. Sikai ikisema namna hiyo. Kwa maana hata hiyo tulikuwa tunapatiwa, okay, kuna wengine wanapatiwa. Wengine hawapatiwi. Lakini kama nikupatie kadi, sikai kadi, ile duka utakuwa ukienda kuchukua unga nini afadhali.
Kwanza ni kisinde ya pesa, kukosa pesa, sababu saa ile napata kazi, saa ingine ni 300, ikiwa 300 na vile gharama ya nani ya sakura iko juu, nikipata hiyo 300 uga ni 200, na hiyo ingine, na niko na watoto kwa boma. Kwa hivyo nikashindwa na kulipa hiyo deni ya inaitwa NHIF, sababu hiyo pesa haiwezekani kutosea.
Ile pesa nilikula nisaidie ingine kidogo niende hospitali, na ni kweli akaona mwili yangu si sawa, si kwenda naenda kama leo niko na homa, nikienda nikifinyika yanasaidia mimi, na nikilala njaa itawachatoka nje.
Bill that allows our elderly to be able to access services, especially medical services, in any government hospital, any hospital within the country, because you can even get an emergency and go to a private hospital. As an elderly, you should be able to access any hospital for free as long as your ID says you're above a certain age. So this is a bill that I will come up with that will give the privilege to our elderly to be able to access services regardless of departments, be it health, be whichever department within government.
Residents of Kirie location, Mbere North Sub-County in Embu County, have benefited from a free medical camp organized by the area Member of Parliament Murioki Njagagwa. The one-day camp came as a reprieve to patients at a time when health services were grounded in all public health facilities, following a strike by health workers over poor working conditions. Health workers downed their tools a week ago over protracted labor dispute with the devolved unit with regard to delay in payment of salaries, non-remittance of statutory deductions to relevant institutions, and acute shortage of drugs. Hundreds of patients who turned up for the one-day camp were examined and treated for various diseases such as cervical, breast and prostate cancer, arthritis, diabetes, hypertension and eye problems by various specialists at the event held at area ACC's offices. Other services offered included immunization for children, nutrition and family planning.
Tuko na hospitali pale Kelie dispensary. Ukweli kusema ukweli, hiyo hospitali ya kuangi hata na daktari. Daktari anakuanga moja tu. Huyo daktari wanga anakuja saa 5, anakujanga saa 6 hivi. Sasa apate watu kama wenye mnaona hapa. Kutibu watu, anatibu watu 3. Unajua sasa hiyo saa 5 yake anakuja aanzie kazi. Baada ya kuanzia kazi anakuanga na saa yake ya kukula lunch. Unaona? Arabu akimaliza kukula lunch, arabu abanye kitu kidogo tena. Na bado ako na saa zake saa kuchukua safari yake atoke hapa arabu aende kwake. Unajua sasa huyo daktari ararangi hapa. Tukipata ugonjwa usiku, hatukuangi na pahali pa kwenda. Hatukuangi hata na daktari. Tunakaa hivyo tu tunategemea Mungu akuje.
Mimi ningeomba tuletewe madaktari hata wao wa kung'oa meno. Kama mimi nimetoka sehemu za huko ni hapa Kerigo. Hapo Kerigo pia hakuna hospitali mpaka tukuje huko Kerie. Ile hospitali iko hapo ina daktari mmoja tu dispensary na hakuna mwingine. Na ukienda huko pia hakuna dawa.
Saa nyingine ukienda hosi hata madaktari hakuna, unapata mnashinda hapo the whole day, unaenda leo ikifika saa 10 unarudi, tena kesho unaenda, unaweza enda hata siku 3 kabla hujapata matibabu. Naweza omba wenye huruma watuletee matibabu kama hii ndio tuweze, na tena watu wengine watu hawajatibiwa wote. So tunaomba tena ikiwezekana alete tena huduma hii ndio wenye hawajafikiwa wafikiwe na wafanywe matibabu vizuri.
Also having a lot of hypertensive emergencies in this region, and due to the ongoing strike in Embu County, it's an issue which needs to be addressed because we've seen a lot of people, around 100 of the people who have hypertensive diseases, stroke and others.
The plea, nilisikia kilio cha watu wa Kerie, wanasema madaktari wamegoma, hawajaona madaktari hapa wa county kwa siku mingi. Na pia nikanongonoza na watu wa Kerie wakaniambia kuna magonjwa mbalimbali ama kadha wa kadha, ya kwanza ikiwa ni maneno ya macho, na zinginezo mingi. So I organized with my good friends who are medics, and we agreed that they're going to frontier the services to come and give free medical care or attention to the people of Kerie. Ile ya muhimu ni kwamba pia hata kuna watoto wamezaliwa juzi hawajapata chanjo, na leo hao madaktari wameweza kufika hapa na kuwafanyia chanjo.
From Embu to Busia County, where farmers in Busia County have been encouraged to incorporate advanced technology in their farming activities in order to enhance efficiency and to increase yields. According to Lynette Ongadi, an official from the Kalo Alupe Association, use of technology and better farming seeds will help increase yield, which will in turn make enough profit for farmers as they continue with their farming activities. Speaking at a farmers' showcase at the Busia Agricultural Training Center, Ms. Ongadi outlined the fact that the association has conducted massive research on the most suitable seeds that can survive the astrija weed. Busia Minister of Agriculture Moses Osia and Leonard Murwai from the same department assured that they have done everything for the purpose of helping farmers secure market for their goods.
To feed our hungry nation, there is a lot of activities that we have done, a lot of research as far as food and livestock is concerned. Like maize, we have maize varieties that are resistant to striga. We have other varieties that are early maturing. For example, we have a variety by the name KSTP94. It's an early maturing variety that is also resistant to striga weed. You know, striga weed is very difficult to control. If you have striga weed in your farm, actually you can get up to 90% loss of your crop.
The theme is to promote various technologies, innovations, and even practices that we can be able to share with farmers in this era of climate change. And I really must applaud the fact that in today's function, there has been tremendous good response from the people. I think for the first time, we have got more than 20 schools which have come here in one of the sites, we have seen that over 1,000 children have gone to look at what's happening in terms of horticulture and even other crops.
There's always market, even there's food. To watu wakishashiba, that's already a market.
Kenyan envoy to South Korea, Mwende Mwinzi, says Kenya stands to benefit a lot in areas such as trade for economic growth. Speaking at an event launch for cosmetics from Korea here in Nairobi, Mwinzi said it is up to Kenyans to come up with creative business ideas in order to open up economic benefits. Health Chief Administrative Secretary Mercy Mwangangi also attended the event.
We've been looking at how we can have partnerships with the Korean government in all spheres, particularly in the health sector when it comes to medicines, technologies and cosmeceuticals. And so today we're here to explore what partnerships can be fostered when it comes to cosmeceuticals. We do appreciate that health and well-being goes beyond being unwell. It goes beyond the normal pharmaceuticals that we know. And so we want to see what products are available that we can actually introduce into the Kenyan market.
A few years ago, our mission had a request from Kenya from an interested party to meet with Korean healthcare, cosmetic providers. And not a single, I think there was only one that was interested. Right now, we have undertaken several surveys. Our mission has met at least 10 cosmetic companies. And we sent out surveys to very many, but 10 very big ones, including the Cologne group that we brought here today, registered an interest in varying levels. Some just want to export, some are looking for agents. And in this case, I am trying to encourage, and I think it will be successful, the Cologne group to come in and set its footprint in Kenya because the market is exponential.
Actually, our boss is actually Korea #1 nanotechnologist, and we are actually had a lot of nice high technology, cosmetic technology, and trend the product to bring into the Kenya market. So that's why I'm here.
Meanwhile, the Lamu County government has been called upon to develop a strategy to deal with sewerage water that goes into the sea as it has continued to risk the lives of sea creatures. According to fisheries stakeholders led by Faud Sheyumbe, the marine environment has been polluted to the point of destroying the fish habitats, leading to a massive drop of fish in the sea. The fisheries have recommended banning of plastic bottles as well as launching of a system to ensure disposal of waste and sewage water.
County government of Lamu haijakuwa na mbinu ya kuhakikisha kwamba hii sewage haingii baharini. Ama kwa hakika samaki ni very sensitive. Kwa hivyo uchafu ambao unatoka nyumbani yanachafua mazingira. Sehemu za mazao ya samaki yako maji madogo. Tungeomba county government ya Lamu na mashirika ambayo yanahusika wahakikishe kwamba hii tabia imesimamishwa kwa njia ya kibiolojia.
La kusikitisha ni kwamba bado sewage zetu nyingi na chafu zetu nyingi za nyumbani zinaenda zikishukia kwa bahari na zimebeba kemikali tofauti tofauti, na hizi kemikali zinaharibu ecosystem ya ile bahari, na inakuwa changamoto ni kwamba vizazi zimekuwa za samaki zinapotea, hata samaki wanakula huo uchafu ambao unaletwa baharini, na kifahamu wangu ni kwamba imeaffect kabisa mapato na utalii.
Mumias West parliamentary candidate on ANC ticket Jackie Okwanya has affirmed that she will be on the ballot despite calls by her party leader Musalia Mudavadi and Deputy President William Ruto to step down in favor of UDA's Rashid Echesa. According to Kenya Kwanza leaders, they might lose their opponents if they fronted the two. According to Jackie Okwanya, she was not consulted before calls for her to step down, and were made, and that she will not be cowed. Violet Auma now joins us live. Good afternoon, Violet. Kindly bring us up to speed.
Thank you, Dennis. Just as you've said, yes, I am here in Mumias West. Mumias West has 6 candidates so far that have been cleared by IEBC. Among them is Jackie Okanya, ANC's candidate here in Mumias West. Just the other day on Friday, we had a rally here, Kenya Kwanza rally at Bomani Grounds in Mumias West, where Deputy President William Ruto and Musalia Mudavadi called on Jackie Okanya to step down in favor of UDA's candidate, who is Rashid Echesa, former sport CS in Mumias West. But according to Jackie Okanya, she has affirmed, she has said, no retreat, no surrender. Let me just bring her in. Why is she so adamant? Why is she not bowing down to whatever the ANC's party leader Musalia Mudavadi has said? Jackie, come in.
Thank you so much, Vayo. And actually, the request to step down is coming in too late in the day, and therefore it's without consultation. It is done to really undermine the efforts we have put as a constituency. It is out to undermine the 2/3 gender rule that we are trying to fulfill as the women of this country. So many a times women are told that they don't avail themselves to vie. Now we are here to vie, and then we are told that we step down in favor of other people. And it is very nice when you're told to step down and actually you're given a reason as to why you're stepping down. Up to now, nobody gives you a reason. Nobody's calling you. I've seen so many step downs that are done through consultations, that are done on boardrooms, and there's no much ado because they were consulted. This time around, the only time I heard about stepping down was at Bomani. And what I usually say is that a market question calls for a market answer. And I will say the conversation was treated in a public rally. My answer was expected in a public rally. And therefore, I've come back home and checked with my people and asked them exactly what they want us to do. And they are clear. They're telling me that, Jackie, you're going up to the ballot. And the programs that we had, the manifesto that we had shared earlier, they want it implemented. And there is no other way to implement it apart from representing them at the parliament.
Maybe somebody will say the way you answered back, especially the Deputy President and Musalia Mudavadi, was not right. Why did you decide to take that step, answering them publicly like that?
Okay, in politics, there's nothing right or wrong because there is no manual. And therefore, that's the reason why they came to talk about it on public. And I think they wanted an answer. Because what happens naturally, we are the first people to speak as candidates, then they are going to end the conversation. But from what happened on Friday, I think they called for an answer, and actually they had to get an answer.
Maybe somebody will say, according to them, they are saying they want to consolidate their votes, and especially to get a win. And for you and Rashid, going to the ballot probably will mean that Kenya Kwanza will lose. Don't you think that it will be detrimental on your side, especially now that you will not be having their blessings or a backing, especially when it comes to campaigns?
Okay. One thing that most politicians want is money. The agreement that we have as the people of Mumias West, money is not going to be our agenda. We are going to look for a poverty-oriented kura mobilization. We're not going to look for money. We're going to look for how the people of this constituency are going to get services back. Because my role as an MP is going to be to legislate, to represent, and to oversight. That can be done without any financial support from any other quarters. Because what actually is strange here is about finances. Nevertheless, what is expected here are the people, and the people are here with me. And our agenda has always been about the bottom-up economy. So if it's really bottom-up, they needed to have consulted.
There is a meeting here. What is the meeting all about now?
The meeting was called to actually affirm whether we should proceed or we should not proceed. Because as a leader, mine is to represent them. And I represented them at Bomani and made an answer. So I needed to check with them, was the answer what they also wanted as an answer? So as my role as representation, what they've told me now that I did the right thing. And actually, I had to give an answer there and then because the question was asked on the ground. Therefore, the answer was supposed to come on the same ground. And so it was for my role to come back and check with my people, was the answer for you or for myself? And they've told me that I answered for them. And that is why we are moving on. We are not careful about any other requirement from any other person. We are careful about what the person, the voter of Mumias West constituency wants. And that is what we will deliver.
Okay. Let's hear from a voter. Please kindly tell us your names and do you agree with her decision?
Yes, I'm Vitaly Sander, and a proper activist of our constitution that was promulgated 2010. It says 2/3 gender. And this thing has been troubling the parliament several times. Now, if at all we can abort it when we have been able to bring up the women who are supposed to support this 2/3 gender, what shall we be doing? Okay. And more so, the entire world is promoting women. That's the contemporary democracy. From America, England, and wherever. They're promoting women. Who shall we be, people of West Mumias, to kill the lady from the grassroots?
Okay.
We are not ready for
Because
that.
of interest of time, we'll have to end it there. But of course, we will have to follow up and get more details on the same, and we'll be able to inform our viewers at TV47 what will be happening on the ground. But as she has said, no retreat, no surrender. She's not going anywhere. She'll go till to the ballot to ensure that she represents locals of Mumias West constituency. I take it back to you, Dennis.
Well, thank you very much, Violet Auma, for that comprehensive update. Of course, Violet Auma will be following up with the story and informing you further as it develops in our subsequent bulletins. Now, from the live update in Kakamega County, we'll do a short break, but don't go too far. When we come back, we'll be giving you more news as well as some sporting action, so stay tuned.
Despite being visually impaired, he is a jack of all trades. It is our quest to find answers on how to take care of children with special needs and those with disability. You do not need to see musical notes to understand music, but rather to have your soul feel the vibe.
Actually, for us to make a wheelchair, we have to take measurements of the user.
After doing my assessment, I get to know the parent, I get to know the heaviness she's carrying.
Disability comes at different stages of life.
How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga.
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. The next set of millionaires are farmers as we know agriculture.
Whereby they are fully incorporated in the church system.
Nimefurahia sana siku ya leo. Nimerepeka sana, nimefurahi sana.
Ni kitu ulikuwa una expect? Hii ni harusi ulikuwa una expect?
Sana, nimekuwa na matarajio makubwa sana na nimefurahia sana imetimia.
Na wamefurahia?
Wamefurahia sana. Nyinyi mmefurahia? Mmefurahia? Sana sana sana, wamefurahia sana.
Yeah. Na wangeomba namna gani kwa wale hawajafanya hii maneno ya harusi?
Nyinyi mnauliza hadi wenye hawajafanya harusi wafanye nini? Waendelee kuomba Mungu na waendelee kupendana, ambao wako kwa ndoa na hawajakuwa na siku kama hii, waendelee kuomba Mungu na siku yao itatimia. Yeah.
Ndio wamwambie kakitu hapo.
Sijaitarajia, sikuwa matarajia hii harusi ya Jubilee inakuwa hivyo. Mimi nasikia kwa ya Jubilee lakini sijaifanya, hata sijaiona mtu amefanya, lakini pia nimefurahia kwa inafanywa. Tena nikafurahia PCA Kiambu Town.
Well, congratulations to the newlyweds. Meanwhile, Health CS Mutahi Kagwe has now called on politicians to urge the supporters to be careful as the country witnesses a rise in COVID-19 cases. Let's have a listen to what Mutahi Kagwe said earlier at the Afya House, where he was addressing officials and the media.
Infections is likely to get worse in view of the drop in temperatures
occasioned by the current season. And I think it is important for us to appreciate that we are faced by a number of challenges that are going to affect these numbers. The first one is that we are in a political season where everybody is out there in the open, many gatherings continuously at all times. The second situation is, of course, the weather and the temperatures that we are experiencing during this influenza period. The third one that we are experiencing as a challenge is also the slow uptick of vaccination rates that we have, up from over 300,000 per day down to about 12,000 per day, and now likely dropping to about 5,000 per day. So we expect a rise in the number of cases of respiratory diseases during this period. Indeed, 3 out of the 8 influenza surveillance sites, namely Kakuma, Kenyatta National Hospital, and Nakuru, are reporting an increase in the number of flu cases. We expect to have a lot of more colds and flus with similar presentations like COVID-19. Therefore, there is need for all those with respiratory-like illnesses to seek appropriate medical care and be tested for COVID-19 to inform proper management. The ministry advises the public to take measures that I'm going to ask the Director General to speak to when I give him the opportunity to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, with regard to vaccinations against COVID-19, the ministry has managed to vaccinate as follows. Vaccination status above 18 years old is as follows. Some 8,578,000 are fully vaccinated. Some 2.4 million are partially vaccinated. Some 404,000 have had booster doses administered. 31.5% is the proportion of adults fully vaccinated. Vaccinations of persons between 15 and 18 years old is 1.5 million doses administered, 820,000 partially vaccinated, and 340,000 fully vaccinated. Regrettably, as I mentioned earlier, has dropped. And this is an area of concern because the statistics we are holding at the moment, with about 77 persons currently hospitalized in hospitals, but the evidence we have is that most of the ones in hospitals are persons who have not been vaccinated. A lot of the positive cases we have of persons who have been vaccinated are essentially presenting mild symptoms. So the solution, ladies and gentlemen, is number one, we need to revise our vaccination rates. Kenyans are advised to get vaccinated. Those who have not been vaccinated should do so immediately. Those who have been vaccinated and need the booster shot should take the booster shots immediately. And we appreciate that mask wearing is also part of the measures that we are supposed to be. And we explained earlier that the measures that we took at the time that we did them was as a result of the fact that we had gone down. But with regard to wearing of face masks, the mandatory wearing of face masks in open public spaces, where one is not in close proximity with another person, remains optional. However, one is required to wear a mask when in contact with other people in close confined spaces such as PSVs, aircrafts, offices, supermarkets, marketplaces, and places of worship. All persons, indoor meetings to continue at full capacity of the venue, but provided that people take measures to be fully vaccinated in order to do so. And all attendees are required when indoors to be wearing masks. We have seen situations, for example, in political indoor meetings, where we are getting super spreading at a very fast rate, as you have seen for yourselves. So citizens are urged, Kenyans are urged to ensure that they wear masks and are fully vaccinated who are to attend those meetings that are town hall meetings. We are not restricting the in-person worship, and we shall continue to do so in full capacity, again, as long as all the congregants and worshippers are also fully vaccinated. We also require worshippers to wear their face masks while inside the places of worship. All international travelers arriving into the country and who are fully vaccinated are exempt from the requirements of a PCR test and are exempt from quarantine upon arrival in the country. All unvaccinated travelers arriving at any port of entry into Kenya for whatever reason are required to be in possession of a negative PCR test results conducted not more than 72 hours before departure, regardless of the route of entry. You appreciate that the reason why that particular clause exists is because sometimes, especially in the walk-in boundaries, it is possible that a person can walk in without being fully vaccinated. Otherwise, on flights from overseas and elsewhere, it's very clear that no traveler is to come into the country until they are fully vaccinated and fully boosted. Unvaccinated travelers arriving at any point of entry will be subjected to a rapid antigen test at their own cost. Any person who tests positive to an antigen test is subjected to entry to a PCR test at their own further cost, and are self-isolate again, according to our guidelines, at their own further costs.